welcome to my studio and another video. Today I have a product review for Ohuhu paper safe water-based markers. I really thought when I heard they were water-based, I'm like, okay, they're just gonna be Tombos, but not. And they're not like Tombos. Actually, their ink really is like super unique. I was really surprised by how they behaved and the applications, which I think that I will be continuing to use them. Join me in my studio for a little real-time drawing tutorial and then a coloring tutorial using these very unique markers. Let's see. So this is the big moment of the new markers. It's funny, I first heard about these from one of my YouTube followers who said, have you heard about bleed-proof Ohuhu markers? And I actually thought what they meant was that like Ohuhu had invented some alcohol-based marker that just magically doesn't bleed. But I sounded suspicious because all alcohol markers do bleed. And then coincidentally, Ohuhu reached out and were like, do you want to try these new markers? And I was like, holy crap, yes I do. So this is the Ohuhu paper. This is an Ohuhu journal, which also touts to being bleed proof. But as you can see, it's just the nature of alcohol markers. And I know a lot of my students are in my Facebook group are complaining like, they said that this was bleed proof. Like, why isn't it? Why do I keep seeing the ghost image on the back? It's just alcohol markers. That's just the name of the game. It's nothing to get upset over. They just bleed. So that's just the way the cookie crumbles, my friends. I don't think Ohuhu should market it as such because it really doesn't. But long story short, I was excited to try these thinking they were some brand of alcohol that really doesn't bleed because I know everyone has those same concerns. But the first thing I noticed was that these are water-based ink. So if your marker says water-based ink, that already is not an alcohol marker. So this would fall then into the Tombow marker category where they're filled with dye-based water-soluble ink. So it's a completely different animal. Just seeing if there's any other things. But yes, I think the thing that they're selling here is the paper durability insured. So that, again, it doesn't bleed through the paper. So let's try these out. I want to see what colors are in here. And I apologize to Ohuhu, it's taken me months to get to this. I just migrated entire art school from one platform to the next. And I have been drowning. Okay. These are very similar to Tombow. And actually, it was funny. I love Ohuhu, and I have all sorts of their different markers. I have these journal dual brush pens. I actually have been using these lately. I just used them yesterday and the day before to do a project. So are these the same as these ones? These are little fine liners. These are dual brush. This one's like a teeny little tip at the end. And I just use those. I actually just did this one yesterday. I did this live with my Celtic Collective Club and I used those. Actually, I used two kinds of Ohuhu markers. I used these for the outline and then I used the alcohol-based markers, coincidentally, for the dude. And actually the greenery is made in gouache. Same thing, I just did this a few days ago and this is all alcohol markers in Ohuhu, using Ohuhu skin tone markers, and then this is also gouache on top. I am obsessed with alcohol markers, but these also play an important role as having the non-alcohol variations in my toolbox because of a super important thing, and that is these don't react with alcohol markers. So let's take a look at these. So these feel quite heavy actually in my hand, which I like. So there's a nice broad brush nib. And then this is a fine tip nib on this side. Now I want to see how it compares to these other little brush pens that I have. These feel so substantial. It's the biggest thing I notice. Yeah, these feel super light. These feel very substantial. If you're curious, if you ever buy a marker and you're not sure if they're alcohol based or if they're ink based, like what the ink is made out of, do a little squiggleroonie on your paper, okay? And use watercolor paper to make sure that it's going to accept the water. And then, oh, fascinating. It is not reacting. No way. Okay, that is fascinating. So I for sure, oh, like what kind of ink is in there? All right, so this is the ink that's in these other fine liners that I have. All right, this is like blowing my mind. So normally, yeah, this is usually what happens with fine liner with that. This is like Tombow ink. It's dye-based, it's water soluble, and it melts and reacts when you add water. This one is not doing that. Wait, what? Maybe it is a secret new kind of ink that's not alcohol, but also not water reactive. Ooh, what is happening? I was wondering if that's because it sat for a second. I had to go get some water. Also could be my paper. All right, so when in doubt, test it out. Let's give that a second to dry. Yeah, it's actually pretty permanent. If this was water reactive, it's moving a tiny bit, but not really. It should be really smeary like that if it was gonna react. That is freaking fascinating. Let me grab a Tombow to compare. All right, now I'm comparing this with the Tombow, which is extremely similar. It has this end, although the Ohuhu is really a true fine liner and the Tombow is more of a bullet nib. And then on this end, that looks actually completely identical. So Tombow markers are super reactive, as you can see. So what is that ink inside Ohuhu? It really is some secret permanent. That's so bananas. I like don't believe it. I want to keep testing it. And I'm like, is it my paper? They're like broken Tombows. Why are they not moving? You guys, that is super surprising and super cool. All right, so I'm going to grab my Ohuhu journal. This is why you always test. I have a YouTube video on her if you want to do her. She's also in alcohol markers. Some swatches back here. So these are I need to like use them. I will be doing here in shortly. I want to see what their blending properties are. Because alcohol markers, and why I'm so obsessed, is that they blend so beautifully and so seamlessly. And I wonder if these do too. First of all, we have to do the bleed test. Okay, they truly don't bleed. What? My socks are knocked off right now, you guys. And then this is their normal alcohol marker. And you can see it is starting to come through in the back. What have they created? They're gonna make a monster out of us. Jeez. And another thing I'm wondering, yeah, this shouldn't smear. Actually, I don't know what this is. Water-based ink, which is really cool. This will also open up a whole nother realm of possibility. And I have some videos on this as well. But basically, when you use water-based ink, which is this new design, and you use it in conjunction with the alcohol-based ink, they actually don't talk to each other. So you can layer them up and you're not gonna have the bleed. That's why I was using the fine liners as I did on her too. I actually used these little skinny fine liners from Ohuhu to do all the outlining, so that I usually go for a like black pigmented outline, and I wanted to give her a more subtle look. So that's how, okay, that's super cool. Okay, oh my God, my mind is blowing right now. Okay, great. So now we can reassess. I still want to know what their ink is, that it's so magical like that. And there's definitely no odor. This might be like the perfect, this is like the perfect solution to people who don't want the bleed, but they love markers like me. The bleed actually doesn't bother me, but I know it bothers a lot of other people. So let's check out their cool color selection a little bit more closely before I bust out and do a whole project with these. So do they have skin tones? Yeah, they sure do. Here, these two I think would be good. They also have this whole range from here to here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I would give them 10 skin tones, which is awesome because normally I have to buy like a separate skin tone set. 1, 2, 3 greens. Oh no, wait, there's way more. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. About 10, which I love these turquoises. And what's also beautiful and brilliant about this set, there's actually purples. Purples are always missing. 1, 2, 3, 4. I would say there's about 4 purples. You guys, this is crazy. This is so crazy. All right, you have a beautiful selection of your warm colors and lots of pinks, which is good in my mind. I can't believe this is happening. Okay, so what I'm gonna do to test these is I'm gonna concoct a lesson, and I'm gonna use a mixture of maybe all the Ohuhus and see how these work amongst all of them. I gotta really put these to the test so I know exactly how they behave so that there's no surprises in lessons and projects down the road. Oh my gosh, this is so exciting. My mind is literally blown right now. Okay, let's begin. All right, let's dive in. I don't even know what to expect. This is so crazy. I'm so excited. All right, I purchased the license for this adorable little munchkin that I thought I would draw today. It's very springy. You are welcome. I encourage you to come and draw with me. So fun. We're gonna start with a big circle. Babies' faces are like literal circles. I have some cheat sheets about face proportions. Now, she's a whimsical cartoon, so this is she's not a realistic baby, but just to show you these super interesting proportions that I just find fascinating. Like their facial features are like equidistant all the way down. It's just fascinating, and they're much more of a circle. And then as babies grow, I have so many cheat sheets. As they grow, their circle turns into an oval, and then it gets narrower and narrower, and the fashion faces are like super skinny ovals. It's really fascinating. So here's my classical whimsical, but if you notice, there's always an eye width in the middle, and even for her, she still has an eye width in the middle. So just fun things to keep in mind. And if you want a face drawing guidelines, let me know. Okay. Pop it a link for you. All right, so I do need a, oh, look at, my vertical is not even in the middle. Okay, so do as many circles as you need. And then I would say, let's see, I would say her eyebrows are about halfway. And that is definitely true of realistic children too, where all of their facial features are like squished down in this plane. Okay, so we have the eyebrow line, and then we have this space between them, and then we have eyes, and then the nose, right, mouth, and then the chin will probably come up quite a bit. Okay, so it's a little low on the chin. So now we can start fine-tuning her. She is so freaking adorable. I like have no words. All right, so her little chinny chin is barely there, and that's another thing, babies barely have chins. They're usually just flat almost, so we're super wide V at the bottom. Super wide V. I'm working on Bristol. I'm not really sure the best thing to work on, but I know I'm not going to be using water to activate it, so Bristol seems appropriate. This is what I use for my alcohol marker work. Okay, so I'm not being super crazy worrying about this being perfect or anything, but I definitely wanted to work with a reference because my work always looks better if I have a reference. Another little fun thing I like to do is with my ellipse template for eyes, it's really fun to match up about the size and shape so I can use that. And if you notice, confirms there's, look, exactly one eyeball in the middle, so that if you are working to scale, which I'm not really, but we are now. Let's see, mouth, nose, and the eyes are super low. Just plunk them here for starters. We can always change it. And they're actually touching. Let me get back here. Yeah, they really are. I don't know why I just moved them. Why did I move them? They should have been touching. I did what I said. No, I said, but then I didn't do what I said. All right, these really are touching. And then she's got a space. Her but not as wide as I have it. So I'm going to bring this in quite a big way. I have this thing, my students all can attest. I have this weird superpower of not being able to draw not huge. Like everything I draw is enormous. I don't know why. It's a weird super art flaw that I have. Look at how off those are. It's hilarious. Let's shave off a few gigantic inches, right? And then her head is really this big and tall up top. So cute. And then her little neck is so cute. It's a super narrow neck on either side. And this is another little tool that I love. This is actually for like nautical map makers, but it's the best when you're actually measuring. Okay, it's great for measuring proportions. I need it all the time because everything I do is so freaking big. I don't know why. I don't know what it is about that, but this helps keep me on track when I can use my little calipers. It's super helpful. I think honestly getting the face shape correct and proportions is always the hardest for me. Always. All right, I'm getting settled in my seat. I'm getting cozy because we're going to be here for a bit. All right, look at her little baby eyebrows. They're so cute. We can put those in right over her eyes. Little baby caterpillars on either side, and they're up. This one is cocked upwards, which is also so cute. Okay, and then her bitty nose is also adorable. I'm just going to start with a wide oval right here. And then her mouth is so bitty. It's just a little wee smile with a dot on either side. And like barely their lips. So cute. All right, so now we are going to fine tune the eyes a little bit. And they were like nested in this shape. So I'm going to come up. I'm going to start with a tear duct almost at the bottom of each side. We're going to come up and over till we hit that eye line. And the smallest tear duct in the whole world. And then when it hits the oval, I'm just going to use that as the bottom and come over. Simple as that. It's handy, I find, to build up the eyes at the same time. That can really help with symmetry. Go slow and steady. I'm looking at my kind of angle on this one. So I'm coming up, around, and then again settling down on this side. And then the oval can become like her eyelid, basically. I know I had two circles there, so one of them can stay as the eyelid itself. Ooh, I erased the wrong one on the side. No worries, pop it right back in. Okay, so look how cute. Now I do the bottom part. We have the smallest tear duct in the world again, and then it hits the bottom. We're going to follow that right around and then come up. Okay, so that helps a lot with symmetry. Now, I do love a good, solid pupil. All right, now I'm going to have to get my circles out. Let me get my circle template. All right, so we can match up her circle template here. And that will help us to position her eyes. So my eyes are bigger than hers. I can see right now. So I'm going to put mine like in the middle. And then I'll show you how I'm going to fix them. We have two choices. One is, so we need to cut off the iris. The iris is the circle part that I just did. So we can either do that by bringing down the eyelid, or we could make bigger. We could also just use a bigger circle that'll fill up the space. The choice is absolutely yours. They're really big right now. Yeah, I think I might just bring this down a little bit. No worries. You really need to cut off the top of eyes or else they just look crazy down. So we're just going to bring down that top lid, and then we can even just add like a little bit of a wet line here on the bottom if we wanted to keep it the doughy eye look. You can just add that line there. But yeah, at least should be sitting. And then this is why the mono eraser was invented, so you could get into these tiny little crevices. And you know what I'll do is I will use my first line as the eyelid instead. Okay, so we're just making this all a little bit skinnier. And that could even stay, but those, like the ellipse template is so golden for helping with all this eye stuff. All right, so now she's more in line with herself. If that's bothering you, you can get rid of some of those, but not all of them until we're done with the facial features. That's my rule anyways. Oh my God, her nose is the cutest thing I have ever seen in my entire life. So I'm gonna zoom in. So there's like a little ball. There's the little ball of the nose, and then there's the little parentheses on either side, and that's literally her nose. So we can bash away these two dark lines. Don't worry, we all have a period where we are going to be erasing everything, but we need to get our solid lines in there first. All right, and then her mouth is so cute. There's a barely there top lip, and then a barely there bottom lip. It's this little baby. Okay, so cute. Now she needs some pupils in her eyes, just pretty big pupils. I'm just gonna pick one. You can use the reference if you want. Oh, by the way, speaking of this reference, I just moved, in the process of moving my art school from Teachable to Kajabi, and I just yesterday set up a new YouTube and cheat sheet neat suite, which is basically, I've had it for years over on my Teachable site, but it houses all of my YouTube videos like sorted by into the series and kind of genres, and I also keep all my cheat sheets there, so like all the face ones that I was showing. I have 7 face cheat sheets. And anyways, long story short, I added a new section called Reference Vault, where every time I use a reference for a YouTube video, I'm gonna pop it in along with the video. So you have it like a little mini class. So I will put the link to that in the description box for you. But it just is a way to keep everyone organized, and then you can follow along. All right. So just erasing back some things. Now let's add her, let's do her little shoulders, right? It just goes fling off to this side and off to this side. Actually, most babies actually have a no neck, which is very cute. Oh, even her shirt is so cute. So we just have a little wide crew neck kind of collar. And then her little cap sleeves, which are just barely making an appearance there. All right, and like ruffles on either side. Okay, now we have her adorable hair, which comes down across her forehead. Okay, and then we have our wreath above, but let's just do some hair strands first. So I'm just gonna add some swooping sections. And then let's actually also add some ears. So the ears are right at the nose line. So I can still see my nose line faintly. And we're just gonna do a little curve to indicate her ears. Right, a little C shape on this side. And we can even do that on this side. And just a little C in between. So now we can have some of her hair also coming in front of her ears. So I'm not even having it go up all the way because we are going to put her little wreath on. So here is some of her flyaways. I'm going to add a kind of maybe a little curly coming behind her ears as well. I think that would be cute. I love these little flicks. So it's like each section is like 2 lines coming together. 1, 2, 1, 2, coming together at the ends. All right, and then she has a volume. Here as well. Okay. So her flowers are going to go across like this, right? Like a flower crown. Coming up above and around like this. I'm actually using my original circle shape for this. That was way off. I might as well use it to my advantage. And then I'm not going to go crazy with the flowers because the flowers are quite time consuming. But I will just put in a couple, maybe 3 with some leaves in between. So here is 1 petal, let's say, and 2. I don't even know what shape that is. 3, 4, 5. We'll do a 5, and then there's some sort of a center. And then we can have a smaller one here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then another one over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we have our 5, and then we can have some leaves on either side. Save us some time. It's been a long time since I did a real-time tutorial for YouTube. Today's the day. I hope you're as excited as I am. All right, and we have some leaves. Oh, sorry, I was off camera there. I have some leaves going around. All right, so the next thing I like to do is I am going to outline her. And then once she's all outlined, we can come in here with an eraser and really like blast away all of our extra lines. Just tapping some of them out, but not all of them. She's the sweetest. She's so sweet. Oh my goodness. I can't wait to color her in with markers. Okay, so we have these fine liners. So let's make a decision. She's super pale, so I think her outline I would like to be this skin color. I haven't swatched any of these, so I'm gonna just quickly scribble some of these colors onto a sheet of paper and see what they look like. Do a little swatch before I color her in. Okay, so this is colors powder pink and fruit pink. Okay. I'm just wondering, I'm so fascinated by this. Am I going to be layering the same way that I layer my alcohol markers? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. These seem like they go on like this. I have to do like a little test. Ooh, all right, that's pilling really fast. So I don't think I'm gonna be able to do all of the layers like I would with an alcohol marker. That was this is what I'm most curious about. I do that they don't bleed, but I know that's huge for some people. I actually don't care about the bleed because I'm more just concerned with my project than my journal being perfect. But I know I'm going to want to get rid of the streaks. And with alcohol markers, you can layer and eliminate all the streaks. Like with here, like she doesn't have any streaks because you just do that with a lot of layers and the Bristol can handle it absolutely beautifully. But I don't know that these will be able to do that. And because they're not water soluble, you also can't use water to mash them either. So super interesting. So these are like water soluble markers that look identical to all these other ones. And these are water soluble. So I could just add water to make them blend together, but I don't have that option. So super interesting. Maybe like faces are just going to be off the table. I'm not really sure. All right, back to the question of how we are going to outline her. I think I'm going to maybe just choose. Yeah, I do a visible outline. But this one, I do like it when they're the same color. So I will use this as like the fine liner. Another possibility, sorry, I'm just trying to think of how I would use this product. If it's not going to be able to get a smooth blend like alcohol markers, then I wouldn't use it for faces. So maybe I would just use it for things like individual illustrations for the flowers, say. Or lips and hair, and but don't use it for things like skin. That could be. You always have a getting to know you period with new art supplies. You have to try them out and try them out, quote unquote, for reals. Oh, I don't know which one was her ear line. So we'll see what happens. And also we could even do it in conjunction with alcohol markers. I've done that as well, and that actually works really well. She's seriously so cute. But my biggest objective of this step is eliminating the graphite. So we're gonna trace her with the fine liner, and then we're gonna erase all of the graphite. So this is our first step. All right, and that's that. Now for her hair, we can use just some of this like honey brown. So I do like that this is a fine nib. Also because you don't get this nib with alcohol markers normally. So maybe, yeah, maybe this is like our perfect alcohol marker complement. Want to be able to incorporate them and use both of their different kinds of inks to our advantage. How can they work together? And you can use the water-soluble supplies with Copics and other alcohol markers, and they do work great. So maybe this is just more options for us, which I'm all about. Put her hairline above as well. And then her, let's see, look at these gorgeous blues to choose from. Ooh, this is very much teal. Whee! Just do a little squiggle there. So yes, I'm doing all of this just so I can get rid of these outlines. I think I'll make her eyes also teal. And I forgot her little baby eyebrows. I will do those in this too. So I'm loving this part. And then she'll have lots of green for her flowers. See, now this we could probably just use, like full on just use the markers for this part, right? Don't need to worry about. I really do want to get in here and erase some of my graphite. It's a little bit much. But that works amazing. Definitely is loving the paper. The paper Bristol is working really well. All right, now just do some outlines for, I do the little yellow flower, blue and yellow. Quick outline. And then get rid of this nasty graphite. And a sweet little blue flower. And one over here. All right, finally, we can do an aggressive erase, if I can find my eraser. All right, let's get rid of all the yucky. Oh, I forgot her pupils in her eyes. I need to outline those as well. So alcohol markers will super make graphite bleed, and I don't know if these will or not. I don't think so. All right, so we got all of the, I'm really digging in to get that graphite out of all these. All right. There we go. All right, now we can move on to coloring time. Okay, so few just last minute changes here before we start coloring in. Just adding a few extra wispies. And then, all right, I'm gonna try to color this. I feel like these aren't gonna be a good use of this, but I'm gonna just do it anyways and see what happens. Like if I do it lightly. And again, this might just be like me working at a scale that these markers can't handle, and it's not really a reflection of the markers as it is me. Like having unrealistic expectations. I do like their brush nib, but they're not really super juicy. I had some graphite in the eyebrow smearing. That's normal though, that kind of happens with everything. That's why I try to get rid of that graphite as much as I can, because it does have a history of doing that. So it is a little streaky weaky. And I don't think that, like, you can also apply, all right, I'll do her neck, I will do it a different way. I'll do like little circles and see if that is maybe a better application. And see if we do this, if that works better. Should have probably done that on her face. Ooh, it already does. That's why you have to like really put your art supplies to the test and let it dry. It is still a little streaky. Now I'm really nervous to apply more coats because when I was doing my super quick test swatch, like it didn't love having more than one layer. And that's pretty streaky too, even when I did the little circles. All right, I will do another layer. Just one more. Oh, I'm like scared. To add some shading. Yeah, it's not going through, so that is true. If you're just worried about bleed through, there isn't any, so that's good. You can shade with one color, that's good. But I don't know if I can come in here. I don't think I can. I'm scared. I'm scared to do it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna switch to an alcohol marker and see how that performs on top of this one. All right, I'm using now Ohuhu R18 to see if I can de-streakify this by doing a layer of an alcohol marker on top. Can you put them together? First I need to make sure this is not like a dry one. Okay. I am on my 4th set of Ohuhu skin tones. I love them. If you're new to my world, I actually published an entire book on marker skin tone secrets. And I used Ohuhu's 36 skin tone pack with it because I really do love their markers. And that's why I was so excited for today to try the new. All right, it's not smearing the other ink, which is great. I didn't think it would, but I never really believe things until I test them out very well. All right, so now this is, yeah, that's the 3rd layer on the neck, which is not loving. So I feel like 3 layers is maximum And she's still pretty streaky weaky. Let me add some cheeks for her. I'm really going to be pushing the boundaries on what she can do here, but she needs to have some little cheeky weeks. All right, this is, ooh, layer 4 on the neck. It's getting dicey. Can use this for her lips. Although I think that other marker would work well for her lips. So this is now layer 3 on her face. The first layer being the paper friendly. I'm really trying to fix the streakiness by blending the alcohol layers on top. This is my only hope, I think. All right, so right off the bat, I would say it's really cool to have markers that don't bleed. So if that is a worry, which I know it is for a fact, I've seen this come up many times over the years in my Facebook group, then these are definitely the marker for you. I would say they're not awesome for layering. So better for smaller items and details, which is fine, which is great, because a lot of times too, like with alcohol markers, you don't get those super fine lines either. But now I'm going to go and add these on top of the alcohol markers and see how that fares. Because my guess is it's actually probably just fine to do the other way around. So I could definitely see using them in conjunction with one another would be a pretty cool pairing. Right, this and this. And then maybe just some little eyelashes. They're like little straight baby lashes. Oh. Gotta go really careful with not overdoing any lashes. I'm doing them little pokey straight ones on purpose just to make her look super young. I don't want to like ageify her. That gets really goes into creepy territory very fast. I think I probably already gave her too many lashes. All right, no. So the Copic seems to be fine on top. Yeah, her cheeks faded a bit, but they're still there actually. They're okay. A little bit more cheeky weaky. And her little nose is also totally pink. I'll just color that in pink as well. Like literally the cutest thing I've ever seen. All right, so what I'm going to do for her hair, since I don't think it likes to have it, I don't think my markers love the base of that. Maybe we reverse it and I start off with alcohol marker hair and then put this on top for like fine detail. So that's what I'm going to try now. All right, I just literally didn't test any colors. I just grabbed some. So now if we do, oh, hello, cute little redhead all of a sudden. All right, so if we do light Ohuhu, give her like a little sun, a little highlight here. And we can go in with some of these darker colors. And I know for a fact I'm going to be using the new markers for the flowers. I think that's probably their superpower, is this much smaller regions. to give her some highlights, but this flower is actually in the way. Maybe just a tiny highlight there and more one that's here. Shoop. Oh, weird. And I'll do her eyes with these markers. I think that would be really pretty. And also the alcohol marker's nib is so tiny, is so big. It's nice to have the option to like weasel in the smaller spaces. I think is always a nice feature. And I also really like how there's so many shades of each color. So I just did that lighter shade, and now I can come in and do a darker shade on the top. And I do think it can handle a couple layers, but yeah, you're definitely pushing it. I wouldn't go more than 4 for sure. All right, give me the black color for her pupils. It's not a very intense black. It's pretty light actually. Oh, I can't even color in a circle. And let's see, let's use the use of one of the grays. Do you have a gray that's light enough? Ooh, that's very dark. So you get 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll show you the grays. They're not very light. They're all pretty dark. So I do like to have a lighter gray option for the eyes. Yeah, these are too much. See. Yep. This one might be okay, whichever one this one was. Nope. Yeah, these are pretty dark. So limited gray, but I don't know. The other colors are so pretty, it makes up for it. I'll grab a different Ohuhu. So now I'm gonna try coloring over the alcohol markers. Now that feels nice. It's like the alcohol markers made them like a little runway where they can just run with it. Yeah, it definitely feels nice to color in these smaller spaces. It definitely feels good to color over the Copics. I don't think that they're a good first coat. That is for sure. And I do love how there's different shades of all the color. That for me is super important. So I think we can use them with our markers on top of for sure. Now we can do like darker. Yeah, I guess this play fun time. Oh, that is really orange. But these work great in conjunction with my alcohol markers. Now, because I'm using them both, you're gonna have bleed through for sure if you're working in like your Ohuhu journal. But I already established that I don't actually care about that. These would be good for card making for sure. Oh, her poor hair is like a mess. I love all the shades. I love, love, love all the shades. I feel like a little kindergartner with my big, next to me, my big layout of markers, and I get to choose from all of them. Yes. That is way fun. And I do also think you could go in with then some darker colors. And layer. So it's a very powerful combo. Think of those markers working together. That's what how I would use them, is really using them together. Shoop, shoop. My highlight here is just really a hot mess, more than a highlight. I'm just having too much fun flicking my markers around, really is what's happening. Let's just call it what it is. It's just fun time. And then we have our little flowers up here, of course. Add little dots to them. We can add more shades of green. I'm loving like just pulling all the colors out. Add some darker here. And we could have the little vine. Joining them together. She's so cute. Definitely feels like playtime. Oh my gosh. Now, I'm not going to use these colors on her shirt because I think that surface area, like I've established, it's too big. I don't think they can handle it. And if I wanted to moosh these colors together more, I'm going to do that with my alcohol markers and not my other ones to blend. Alcohol markers can absolutely blend. And our paper really likes them as well. We just simply don't have the highlight that I was going for. We don't. It looks like she just has some awkward like bald spot up there. I tried. There's too much going on with the flowers. We really need the around the flowers to be set off. And that was funny. It's like a little sun dappledness. And then the shirt, I'm not finishing till she's all done. I didn't swatch this or anything. Just give her some cute little shirt, a shirt starter. Alcohol markers can definitely be alarming if you're new to them. They're an art. They really are like painting because you have to do so many layers in order for them to blend. It's like their secret superpower. All right, I was just kind of doing like a rough color in. I didn't want to spend too much time on that because I really am just focused on our fun little new markers, which are so fun. All right, so I really like them. They're a ton of fun. I'm gonna definitely be coupling them with my normal repertoire. But I think it's fantastic to be able to mix and match your marker supplies and have them work double duty for you. It's just it's more powerful the more things that you have in your arsenal. Oh, the one thing I wanted to do was, yeah, put a little gray in her eyes. There's usually a little shadow line in those eyes. So across the top, it's usually a gray strip. You can even give her along the bottom as well. And we can have a little thing right here, the corner of her eyes, her little tear duct. Oh my gosh, her nose is so cute. I can't even take it. A little inside of her ears. Even add a little shading to her hairline if you want to. And her neck. So we have the power duo between, oh gosh, she's just so cute. Oh, you know what though? These would make great for kind of like flyaways. Like even the little, this line, the fine liner lines. These super fine lines. You can't do that with an alcohol marker, can you? Nope. Oh my gosh, she's so cute. All these random flyaways. You could have them up here as well. Whee! It's my latest thing is getting really carried away with stuff like this. I just go like crazy. It's very satisfying. Look, now she has 90 million flyaway hairs. So cute. I didn't actually color in their eyelid, which is a little bizarre. So let's get those colored in. And I think her nose needs to be just a little bit pinker. And same thing with her little cheeks. Under here. So the pinker all of these things are, then we need to go add a little highlight that really bounces off the page. So we can just do one little nose, boop. And her eyes. Make sure that blob gets caught for it. So we have one little eye. Highlight there. And then we want to do a highlight on this side as well. Just make sure they match, which mine are not matching right now. As I say that, and they're just not. Put some in here. Put some in here. Boop, boop, boop. So yes, have fun with all of the highlights. Oh, she's so sweet. And we also can have a little highlight on her little mouth. Boop. Here in her little eyelids. And if you want to help her hair highlights, you can also add some in there as well, and here. Little sparkle of sunshine coming through. See it bouncing off of certain hair strands. Oh, because why not? Why not? Super sweet. Very cool addition to my marker arsenal, for sure. Okay, before I go, I just wanted to test these on watercolor paper as well. I just like snuck on the Ohuhu website, which I really should have done before I started. I just got really eager to actually test this stuff out, which was, I was gonna see if they were light, fast, and permanent. There's actually no indication that they are not, or that they are. I don't think that they are. I don't think there's any way. But it was like, for best blending effect, use on watercolor paper. And I was like, oh shit, I did mine all in Bristol. So I'm gonna do a quick test on that, and I thought I would bring you along just as one final thing before we call it a day. All right, so here's my heavy duty watercolor paper. And I'm just gonna see about having a little blend-a-thon. For sure, I actually do feel like they are going on a little bit more smoothly. And yeah, I for sure can do more layers. Okay, that makes sense. It is though pilling. So not amazing, or not like completely worry-free. So if I do this, some circular marks, can I get less streaking? No, you can definitely be more aggressive, which I don't hate, but you can see it's pilling already still. So I think it's still a bit streaky. It was the same, I think, as it behaved on Bristol. If I use lighter marks, oh yeah, it's pilling there too. So yeah, I think it's about the same. It doesn't really change my perception of how they work or how that I would work either. Yeah. Interesting. Still pilling though. I probably would. It's cool because I know I can't work on watercolor paper on alcohol markers. It leaches all the ink out. So I do definitely think it leaves a more like water-like stain. I guess if I was going to do watercolor paper, I probably would work with something like Tombows, which then at least I have the option to add the water. I'm super fascinated by the fact they're not water soluble though. So whatever pigment this is definitely unique, and there definitely is a place for it. So I will not knock them any of that. And if you want to learn any more about coloring with Ohuhu markers that are alcohol based, I have like literally dozens and dozens. I will leave you a cool playlist right here that you can check out at your leisure, and I'll see you next week with another video.